As the Heat dribbled the ball out with 10 seconds left in their Game 3 win last night, LeBron decided to walk off the court and leave the game early. Some of LeBron's teammates followed, but with the shot clock expiring, the Lakers needed subs to come in and finish the game with 0.7 seconds left. Shannon, I want to start with you. Was this inbounds or out of bounds by LeBron?
Well, I think the thing was, I don't know if he knew exactly. I think the thing, Skip, he thought the time would expire and didn't realize that it was like a 0.7 difference in between the shot clock and the time clock. And so he just like walked off the court. And I've seen him do it, Skip, I've seen him do it even when they're winning, and that he'll just throw the ball to someone else bring the ball up the court, and he starts walking off knowing that the game is over. It looks bad because they had to sub people in, Skip, because once everybody saw him walking, then everybody else walked off the court, and so Frank Vogel had to get subbed in the game to get the 0.7 off. So it's just a bad look. But it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to overblow this situation and say, oh, it's bad sportsmanship. No, this is not. If you want to say, this is not what the Pistons did to Michael Jordan, Skip, at the end of the game when they wouldn't shake that.
But the series was over.
Right.
They had been swept.
They had been swept. So for me, Skip, I don't want to make a big deal out of this. Would I have preferred he stayed on the court and everybody stay on the court? Then you just, take the ball out, pass it to, throw the ball to the official? Sure, that didn't happen, but it's not a big deal.
I tend to agree with everything you just said. I can't get all that worked up about this. In fact, I chose last night not to even tweet about it when it was glaringly obvious that he had left early, and Mark Jackson on the ABC telecast did make note of it.
Right.
The issue here is I'm not all that worked up about it, but I'm pretty sure the Heat will be worked up about it. So you're playing to their strength, which is intangibles. That's really all they have. They're completely overmatched physically. The Lakers still have by far the two best players on the floor. And I'm going to assume, though I don't know this for a fact, that the Heat will still be down Dragic, their leading scorer in the playoff, and maybe down Bam. He might have a better chance of coming back than Dragic, but probably it sounds like he's hurt. It's either shoulder or neck. They're non-specific about it, but they'll probably be down their leading rebounder and shot blocker and assist man. Okay, so it should be an epic mismatch again, unless you relight their fire. Unless they feel so disrespected that you can't even sit still for the game to end, a game that they won against all odds, that you are just dismissing them and disrespecting them by sort of snubbing your nose at them. You know, you're just nose up in the air. I don't even want to associate with this mess that's on the floor.
He said he was frustrated and he mistimed it. He thought the clock would expire and he was frustrated. So he admitted.
He said it was both.
Right.
Okay. Got that. But if I know Pat Riley, and I think I do, he will definitely make a speech about this to the team. Do you realize what he didn't think of you guys? Do you realize how he's looking down his nose at you guys?
He didn't even want to be on the court with you after you kicked.
Right.
Pat Riley going to say after you guys kicked his ass, he didn't even want to be on the court with you. That's what Pat's going to say.
Okay. And we're back to Jimmy Butler. In the first quarter, LeBron says, you guys are in trouble. Kuzma had made a big three, and they had caught them from a 22-9 deficit. And it looked like and felt like to me the Lakers were about to go on a run and win by 20 points. And I'm sure LeBron thought that. So then Jimmy makes his shot at the end of the game, 1:15 left, and he storms off toward his bench saying, they're in trouble, they're in trouble, they're in trouble. Well, as far as intangibles go, you're up against a force of nature here. It's almost like Tebow-esque, where it's not about his ability, it's about his will.
Right.
Well, Jimmy Butler's got huge will. He doesn't have the most extraordinary talent.
Right.
He's not the greatest shooter. He's not a three-point shooter to speak of.
Not a great leaper. Doesn't have great not known as a ball handler.
Nope.
He's just a basketball player. Skip, you know what it is? You haven't covered the game for 40 years. Sometimes it's not just, and we get so caught up. It's not always about catching, throwing, or tackling. And it's not always about, assisting the basketball. It's other things. Jimmy has that it. Whatever that it is, Can he score like Kevin Durant? No. Can he rebound like Dwight Howard could in his prime? Could he block shots like Mike? No, he could do none of that. But he can do a lot of everything.
Yep.
And he does it well. And he can convince people. That's the best part about being a leader. The greatest thing about being a leader, because Skip, a lot of times people don't believe this, but the greatest leaders weren't always the greatest soldiers. They're not always the greatest fighters, but they can convince a man or convince a woman that they can do things that they didn't think they could do.
I agree.
And that's what Jimmy Butler
is.
Jimmy Butler has given the Heat belief. He's like, bam, you know you're a double-double guy. You know you could be an all-NBA player. You could make the all-star team. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Guys started believing it. He's like, Tyler Hero, who cares if you're 20? You belong here. Mm-hmm. It's still basketball. You were playing, you came to the NBA at 20, so what's the difference? Mm-hmm. The goal is still regulation.
Yep.
It's the court is still, the dimensions are still the same, so what's the difference? He's gotten these guys to buy into it. Now, the Lakers got their hand for it. Now, they're just not going to skip. I believe the Lakers will win the next two. But if you think they're just going to go, oh, man, okay, you got us now. And we just going to go away. We won one game. They didn't want to get swept. They believe they can win this thing, Skip.
The shock to me was that in game 1 and game 2, the Heat didn't play hard. That they played not to lose, just to sort of hang on. And it wasn't the Heat that I saw against the Celtics or going back to the Bucks or going back to the Pacers. Last night, they played Heat basketball, where they're fearless and they're going to keep making little big plays.
Right.
That he initiates. Every time he initiated, and he was driving me crazy. There were at least 3 times when I thought he had a step in the lane driving on LeBron or whoever it was, right. KCP, and at the last second, he decided to turn and try to find a perimeter shooter. And I thought, you got an edge. Just go ahead and try to get to the foul line. Try to lay it up high off the glass. Try to dunk it. And yet, he's so unselfish that we've never seen a guy who can play like a superstar, who has no ego whatsoever, because he does not care. Like I said, he scored 6 points in the closeout game against Indiana. You think he went home and pouted about it?
No.
No, he did not.
No.
Nope.
Because, Skip, you remember, he scored 40 in the first game, and then he come back the next game and had like 13. He didn't care. He says, we won.
He truly doesn't seem to mind.
Right.
So, to me, for LeBron, yeah, it was a bad look. It's sort of diva-ish behavior, and it reminds me a little bit of LeBron after he had the great game closing out the Nuggets, and they were celebrating, and he went and sat to the side of the celebration on the floor because he knows the cameras will find him. It's like, I am above all this, and he was above the mess that they made on the floor last night. I don't want to associate. I'm gone.
Well, he was a part of it, and I think he understands that. But, Skip, I've seen guys that when they want to, you win the NLCS, or you win something, or you win the AFC, NFC championship game, guys are like, no, I don't want to touch the trophy. I don't want no T-shirt. I don't want that. This is not the T-shirt. This is not the hat that I want. This is not the trophy that I want to touch. And some guys won't touch it. I wasn't one of those guys because I didn't know if I was going to get an opportunity to get back to it. So I'm touching everything. Give me a hat. Give me a T-shirt. But some guys in but Skip, LeBron is different. See, Michael Jordan and Kobe and guys like that, they don't get excited about winning Eastern and Western Conference title because ultimately you know how they're going to be judged. Mm-hmm. And so for him, yeah, it was a great, I just spent 40 minutes. This was a tremendous feeling. But ultimately, Skip, I'm not going to be judged that I go the #1 seed. I made it out the West. The only thing that matters, did you bring home that Larry O'Brien award?
That is correct. So the difference between basketball and your game, football, is usually in a one-game winner-take-all football format.
Anything happen.
Anything can happen because you can play so high up. You can raise your psychological, emotional level to such a degree that you can pull off an upset just on raw emotion.
Yes.
You can just play harder than the other team, and it will work.
Yeah.
In basketball, it usually doesn't work because there's too much finesse involved.
Right.
You have to key down enough that you can shoot it with ease and poise.
Right.
You have to be able to make your shots. You can't brick your shots because you're playing out of your mind with emotion.
But think about it, if this was football and Jimmy Butler did what he did, they would be the champs. Nick Foles playing against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So we've seen situations where guys rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And for one game, and that's what Skip.
Well, I told you going in, if it were one game for all the marbles, I would give Jimmy Butler and company a shot.
And this is why you have to have nothing but respect for Tom Brady, because he's won 30 game sevens. That's what NFL football is. It's a game 7. There ain't no tomorrow. There ain't no, well, we'll get him, we'll make our adjustment. It's a feeling out period. A feeling out period means you're cleaning out your locker on Monday, Skip, and you're going home, and I'll see you next year. So that's what football is. It's a game 7 every single playoff game. And Tom Brady has won 30 of those.
He has.
I think it's 130.
30 and whatever.
Yeah, I think it's 30. You figured right. 9 Super Bowls, so you got to win at least, what, 2 games to get to the Super Bowl, so that's at least 8. Yeah, so he's won 30 of those. It's unbelievable. But give Jimmy credit. They won. LeBron. Now, you got to make them walk off the court before the game ends.
LeBron better be ready to play.
He'll be ready. He'll be more than ready.
Ready.
More than ready.
Like all-time ready.
And guess what? AD gonna be more than ready.
Okay, he better be.
Hey, I'm going on record right now. 80, 40, and 15.
Really? AD?
AD.
Well, they do go as AD goes.
80, 40, and 50. I know what you're trying to do, Skip, but you're not finna get me upset. I'm not finna let you, hey, don't even worry about it. AD going 40 and 15.
All right.
LeBron going 25, 13, and 12.
That's all?
That's it. That's all we gonna need.
Your confidence, Shannon.
That's all we need.
Let us down around here. All right. How impressive was Dak Prescott making NFL history, but in another loss for the Cowboys? That is next.
No mercy.